Some camps get lucky and have one or two guys come in who are naturally talented and go on to become world champions. But you seem to make champion after champion after champion in every weight class. What has made you so successful at making champions?
Guys, I always say that to have a world champion at the school is not that hard. You get a guy that is so talented and he's so blessed by God and learning Jiu-Jitsu that you can put him to train with the wall that he's going to be good. You know, like a good example, like a Jacare, you know, Ronaldo Jacare. He's a great fighter. He's so talented, you know, that he has a great instructor, Henrique Machado from Manaus. He's a great instructor. He puts some good fighters there. But if Jacare would train with anybody else, he would still be great, you know. Not Jacare, but BJ Penn, you know, we see a lot of guys like that. You know, BJ, he learned from Half. Half is like one of the best teachers I know. And he puts his basics really sharp. But there's some kinds of guys that doesn't matter. They're gonna train with whoever. They can train even with the, you know, that guys that they say they're black belts, but they're not. You know, they can train with these guys and they can be good. You know, they're always gonna be good. They're gonna be champions. But you know, I always say that making a lot of champions, that's a real tough thing. The tough thing is to get a team that has good results and a team that is always getting like a lot of like guys on the podium, you know, not just one guy. They just have one guy. No, a lot of guys, you know, always have guys. Sometimes the guy who was a world champion this year he's not, but a new guy come, you know. And I was lucky enough to have these on my team, you know, like all my students. I was blessed by God to have a lot of talented guys, but not just talented, but because I have like a lot of dedicated guys. I think dedication beats talented. I got like great students, really talented students, but also I got like a lot of dedicated ones, and these are my favorites, you know. I always use this example. Tio Chico, Augusto Vieira, he's a black belt under me. He's teaching now for Renzo Gracie in New York. He's going kind of back and forth to Brazil. I got this guy. He was like a fat kid, you know, like a kid who didn't have any coordination. He still couldn't ride a bike, for you to have an idea. He couldn't do jumping jacks. He couldn't do one push-up. You know, he was the kid that everybody goes into school and hit him on the head like that. Shut up, kid, you know, fat piece of shit. And this kid showed up at the school, and I was a kid that I look at him and say, this kid's not going to be here for 1 month. It's going to be tough, you know, unfortunately. But the kid stayed, learned. For like the first year, he was getting beat by everybody. The first class was either beating him already. And then, dedication, training, hard work. He's 2 times world champion now. He's the guy who gives like Sergio Moraes the hardest time all the time. He's like one of the best right now. He was not world champion of black belt because of a detail. He will be, I'm sure. And he was a guy that he's like, you have BJ Penn here and you have him there. He's completely the opposite. BJ Penn have all this talent, all these great things that, you know, he gets things fast, and Tio Chico wouldn't do even jumping jacks, you know. And that's what I think that you really can tell that you're a good instructor, when you make guys like that succeed, you know. Not just him, but we have a lot of other examples. So I have to thank God for the, you know, for the gift and for the lucky to get such great students like I had before.
When you began training in Jiu-Jitsu, how was it different back then compared to how it is now?
Guys, when I began to train Jiu-Jitsu, pretty much what the difference of the classes is that, number one, the classes were a little longer. And because the classes were longer, there was like a lot of time for us to chat between trainings and stuff. So it was a little bit more like, I would say, more relaxed a little bit, if I'd say that. But we always had a lot of self-defense and vale tudo, of course, yeah. Like I remember that as we do today in the fundamentals program at the school, and sometimes every week, every first week of my school in advance, you always do self-defense. You know, it's really important. Jiu-Jitsu is self-defense. You know, Jiu-Jitsu was created to make the weak beat the strong. So it's something that I never, during my teaching, I never put behind. I do competition training, yes, I do a lot of them, but I never put the self-defense aspect behind. You can ask all my students, they all know moves of self-defense and everything. So I think the combination of balance between both is the most important thing. I still do that. I think the classes are like more dynamic nowadays, more shorter, because everybody's like rush. You know, the sport grew so much. You have way more students than you used to have. You used to have a small group, and the hardcore guys there, you know, training every day. You know, that thing, that brotherhood of like a handful of guys only. And now the thing is kind of getting mainstream, so I think the difference is basically that. But the technique, the core, the philosophy is still there, so I don't see a lot of difference now.
There have been comments that Gracie Barra is not pure Jiu-Jitsu. What do you think that means, and why do you think they say this?
Yeah, I didn't even know that, but I heard there was like a big polemic about people saying that Gracie Barra doesn't do the pure Jiu-Jitsu or the real Jiu-Jitsu or whatever. I think that's really funny, you know, because Gracie Barra is the #1 Jiu-Jitsu team in the world in results and producing champions. And the system that he do in Gracie Barra is the system that was taught to my master by Master Helio and Master Carlos Gracie. So everything that he do come from this root, from Master Carlos and Master Helio. What makes Gracie Barra different, I think, is that Gracie Barra puts, like I said, the emphasis on the, of course, on the technical aspect and the self-defense aspect of the art, which is the spirit of the art, but also we give value to competition. You want to produce fighters and competitors that are among the best in the world, you know. And if you don't have competitors on this caliber, you know, I don't see why you can say that we don't have the pure jiu-jitsu if our guys are among the best in the world, you know. People say, oh, about all the rules and about IBJJF, they're not realistic, not the best guy wins all the time. I agree, but, you know, look at our guys. You know, our guys submit everybody, you know. You see Roger submits everybody, Romulo submits everybody. So how come, you know, they say that, you know, they're not the real jiu-jitsu. The real jiu-jitsu is submission. Real jiu-jitsu is like progressive jiu-jitsu that gets position first, great defense, and then submission. That's exactly what Gracie Barra does. So I really don't understand, and I really can't understand at all how people say that. I think maybe it was like a misunderstanding, I believe, or maybe, you know, somebody was, I don't know, maybe drunk all the time. I really don't know, because it's something that sounds even kind of silly to say, because I mean, how come, you know? It's like saying that Randy Couture is not good at wrestling, you know? I don't know, you know?